Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about this benchtop power supply and take it apart, see what's inside, maybe get some ideas for future projects. This is the Topward 6306D. It's actually a pretty classy benchtop supply. It's not programmable, but it's got two outputs and it's got these switches so you can switch it between series and parallel or independent. So you can see right now I can, it's in, let's see, series, I guess. So when you change these, on this side is the master and it changes them together. And when you put this like this way, now each side adjusts separately. So that's kind of cool, and you can put them in parallel too to get more current. They have current limits. This guy's about $1,000 new, I think. I got it for free because it got dropped. It was a deal with another bundle of things I bought used. And you can see the, I don't know if you can see, but the front here is kind of popping off, and the heat sink's bent. Some of the frame is bent in the back, but it's a great deal, so let's take it apart and check it out. Well, here we are on the computer. The first thing I found when Googling for this is a couple of hits on the EEVBLOG. There's this one here, which is pretty awesome. This guy posted the schematics, at least 3 of the schematics for the power supply. And then there's this other one here where a guy took one apart. This one is the version before, maybe a couple versions ago. So the A, the one we were looking at, is the D. It doesn't look like it's changed that much though. This design, I think, is 20 or 30 years old. Here's the one that I just opened up, and the one thing that hit me right away was totally this guy that makes it so heavy. And that's kind of a bummer, because as soon as you see this, you realize it's a 60 hertz transformer. So not going to be any super sophisticated power electronics in here, at least not high frequency. So we would like to boost up the frequency a whole lot for anything we do nowadays. So we can make this guy much smaller because the magnetics are proportional to the switching frequency. You can see here's the power coming in. Here's a board on this side. There's a pretty identical one on this side. I think that's the two power supply boards. And then there's this control kind of board up here in the front. And this little board in the back here looks like it's rectifying the power coming in. And then there's big heat sinks on the back have these big transistors on them here. Here's a close-up of that, 2N3772, and there's 3 of them on one side of the heatsink, and then there's another section like this that has 2 of them on it. That was a Motorola, but this here looks like On Semiconductor makes one, and it looks like it's a 60 volt, 150 watt NPN BJT. So here's those schematics from the forum, and this on the bottom is the 5 volt output right here. And this stuff looks a little bit upside down. I'm not sure exactly how that is working, but if you look over here, this is the rectifier, it looks like, coming in from that big transformer. And then this guy right here is this chip, which is a voltage regulator, but it says here you can have up to 10 amps or more with an addition of an external transistor. So it looks like they're just using that for this 5 volt output. And this is the connector right here to that 2N3772 BJT that's on the heatsink. So that looks like that gets controlled through here, and it's just a giant linear regulator that's fixed at 5 volts. Here's the next page. So this page is the master circuit, and this one here is the slave circuit. So they're pretty similar. We'll just look at the master one. You can see here on the left is where a bunch of voltages are coming in. So this is pretty interesting. It looks like the main parts here is this whole section here is selecting a bunch of inputs coming in from the big transformer. This part down here looks like the main rectifier, and these here are the big external transistors on the heatsink, and this here is the output. So if we zoom in on this part, this is got 4 different lines coming in here. So it's 14 volts, 22 volts, 30 volts, and 37 volts. And then each one of those goes off here through a relay. And it looks like these are relays here, little coil on the switches. So it's selecting whichever one of these, I guess, is just above whatever your setting is on the knob. So as you turn the knob, it turns more of these on. So you're not dropping the entire amount across your transistor. So it looks like this is all linear regulator style. So if you set it to 5 volts, for example, it's going to select this 14 volt line here, and then the transistor is going to drop the 9 volts to give you 5 volts left over. So right here, if we try and circle the path, this is the positive coming through here, going out this way, up and around like this. And then it comes down here through both of these lines and through these transistors. Then it goes through these shunt resistors here. And out the positive output. Likewise, the negative comes over here. This is a big resistor, so the negative just goes straight here to the output. So let's see if we can figure out the control circuit here. We've got the bases of these transistors on these two pins right here. And you can see this one comes up like this, and it goes up to this transistor here. So this is like the driver for these transistors down here. And then the top of this transistor is just coming from here, which is the input power before it goes to these guys. So this transistor is driving these two transistors using the power from the main power bus. It looks like this LM741 op amp is what is driving this driver. So I guess this must be the main error amplifier for the voltage loop. So then the current limit must be this guy right here, which is turning this one off with this LM741 op amp being the current limit error amplifier. And this is kind of interesting because it comes down here. It doesn't pull it to ground, it pulls it to the emitter of the main BJTs here. So here it looks like they've got back-to-back diodes. A lot of op amps have these inside of them to protect these inputs, but I guess they've added some on the outside. And normally you have negative feedback, so your reference would be on the positive side. So if we trace back this positive side here, we should find the reference, which should be the knob for adjusting the voltage. So that one goes to pin 2, and then this one on this side goes over here to pin 3. That's J8 to J9. So if we go back to the control circuit, that is this guy up here. So on pin 2, we find this pot. On pin 3, find this pot. So that must be the voltage and the current control knobs. So now back to the master power supply sheet here. It took me a minute to figure out where this was going, but if you trace the negative here, looking for the feedback to the output, it doesn't come right here from the output. It goes down onto this point here and around up here to pin 7. So if we go back to the control schematic for pin 7, that comes here and down to the master output. So it's a little bit of a almost a remote sense kind of thing, I guess. Getting the voltage from here is the point that it's regulating off of. So I hope you found it interesting, and I'll see you next time.